This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Today we're going to be meeting one of the youngest recipients of the Padmashri, and we're going to find out why. He's been instrumental in changing the landscape here in Kolkata, turning it perhaps into the next Gurgaon. He's been involved in housing projects using the PPP model, creating housing for lower income groups as well as higher income groups in the same area. He's also been instrumental in creating special zones like the one we're in here today. It's called Swabhumi, it's a heritage park, and it's very, very special. We're going to find out why. Neotia, very good morning.
Hi.
How
Nice
are
to
you?
meet Good, thank you.
I know we have a very hectic day lined up ahead,
Yes.
but do tell us before we let you go in for your first meeting of the day, a little bit about Swabhumi, because I hear there's a very interesting story behind how this place came up.
Well, Swabhumi was conceptualized about 6-7 years ago. Actually, even before that, maybe 10 years ago. This was a wasted garbage dump of the city, a municipal waste. We're standing actually on about 50 feet of garbage below us. And this was lying abandoned, and this was kind of a place which was not really desirable. There were bad odor in the region. And I then requested the government if they could lease us this to develop this into a heritage park. And they were a little initially skeptical as to how I would be able to do something on a garbage heap. But then I convinced them, and then we had a lease, and then we set this up.
All right, Mr. Neotia, we'll let you go for your first meeting, which is with the board of Swabhumi, and after that we're going to head to one of your sites, and that's going to be an interesting experience to really start to get a glimpse of all the different things that Ambuja is involved in. Mr. Neotia is back from his meeting, which took a little longer than expected.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about the realty market here in Kolkata, because it's developing very fast, and it's suddenly started to become a lot more noticed than ever before. What kind of opportunities lie here?
Well, I think just like every other metropolitan city, we have a lot of potential here, and now there are a lot of national players coming and participating in Calcutta's growth, so that's interesting. There is a mix of demand for housing, for retail, for IT. I think IT, the city is catching up. It had sort of lost steam somewhere, and it's picking up. There's a lot happening in the hospitality sector, so it generally seems to be good.
What is the kind of breakup then between the different segments that you're into, from commercial to housing, hospitality, leisure? What would be more significant?
Well, ever since the family divested its interest in the cement, which was last year, we've been focusing on the realty segment. And when I say realty, it's a little loose, broad term, but really it's a combination of 4 areas that we are involved with. When I look at realty, it's residential, mall development, and IT space. Then hospitality, essentially hotels, food courts, banqueting. Then we have healthcare in the hospitals. And really we focused our energy in a very serious way just really last couple of years, because before that I was doing realty, but more as a hobby horse rather than as a core business activity, since the family's main interest was cement. So it's going to be a while before we're going to have something worthwhile, but it looks interesting for the time being, and I'm sort of working hard to make it happen.
All right. Mr. Neotia, where do we go from here?
Let's go to our housing project, the first one, Udayan, which was declared a model housing project. Maybe you'd like to have a look.
Okay, for sure. So Udayan is where we're headed next. What's the PPP model all about?
Well, the concept was that we are in partnership with the West Bengal Housing Board, and the whole objective was to find an answer to social housing, how private initiative, private funding, private capability can be brought together with governments to see that low-income, middle-income group people can also be provided with a shelter. So under the model, half the houses that we build are for the low and middle income groups. The price is determined by the government. Obviously there's a subsidy, and it's allotted through a process of lottery to people from an income segment that is below a certain amount. For instance, the low income person must have a salary of less than 7,000 rupees a month. The middle income guy should be less than 15,000 rupees a month. So the whole idea is that they are able to get an accommodation within the city limits and, be able to stay.
What can be the price difference between the low income apartment in the same complex versus the high income?
Well, this complex, which was completed in 2001, the low income apartment of 1 bedroom, living, dining and a toilet was just 1,15,000 rupees.
Okay.
The middle income, which was 2 bedrooms, approximately 650 square feet, was 3 lakhs rupees. And the high income went from 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs, depending on the size.
Right.
So,
and that is the correct actual market price, the high income
at that
bracket.
time, yes. Now, of course, those apartments now are quoting at 3 times probably of what we sold them 5 years ago.
This is the project that you received the Padmashri for?
Well, not the project, but for the
Concept.
and the
Right.
initiative, yes.
Okay, you've seen now what a site once fully developed looks like, and what Mr. Neotia is doing very successfully is combining some of the different areas that he's present in. We're going to see how that really works, where we're going next, which is a site which is currently under construction.